Welcome to Haxby Shed. Another odd job. A few weeks ago I took the valves out of this cylinder head, which is a Mk2 Golf 1800 GTI head. I tried to use this spring compressor, which I'd had for my old BMC Minis, and it's not really quite right for this because the cylinder head is a lot taller than we had on the Minis, and the valves sit down in a deep recess. So I made this sleeve to go with it. I'll do a close-up in a minute. I didn't have a lot of luck, to be honest, and I ended up using the press to get the valves out. Now the thing is, I need to get the valves back in, and this isn't going to be quite right for getting the valves back in and getting the collets on. So I'm going to have another go with this. Now actually it's not quite the right shape for this cylinder head. The compressor that you use with this cylinder head would normally be a bit taller, and it would have a sleeve a bit different from this, with slots in either side to make it easier to get the collets in. The other thing is, when I tried to use this compressor, at rest the handle was down like this, and you get almost no mechanical advantage, and it's very difficult to close the compressor. So as I make a new sleeve to go in here, that handle at rest needs to be more like this. Okay, background stuff. Now I'm going to make a new sleeve to replace this one out of this piece of rough old steel. I'll do a close-up now so you can see what I'm talking about, the components, and then we'll talk about how I'm going to machine this to make that sleeve. You can see there the valve, double valve springs and the cap. I'm not showing the collets, but they're just standard collets. And then you can see the sleeve that I use for extraction. This one. It was just a piece of curtain pole with a bit of wire around the end and a slot in it. And then you can see the piece here that I'm proposing to use to make the new collar to replace this one. I've already checked the length, and about 2.25 inches, 50-16 millimeters, something like that, is what I need. This was actually the centre of an engine mounting bush or a steering bush, something like that. It really is a rough old bit of stuff, but I'm fairly confident I can make something out of it. I just took a file to this bush and I took the rest of the rubber off it. There was a bit still stuck on. And the hole in the centre is 16mm, and I've got my 16mm arbor, which is just an old bolt. And we'll clamp that on there. It might slip, it might not. I think it's going to be okay. Well, I don't like to admit defeat, but I'm giving up on this. I'm getting a terrible surface on it. It's running very hot. I chipped my tool. It's not worth it. So what I'm going to try now is using this old 1/2-inch Whitworth box spanner. I've cut the end off it already. That's the kind of idea. I'll see what I can make of that. I could make something up out of new, but the stuff I've got that's new is pretty soft. It'll be all right. 2 minutes on the lathe, and I've just cleaned up both ends. I've already got a hole in it there quite conveniently, so now what we'll do is try and shape a slot into it. I've set it up in the shaper vise, but I've realised this probably isn't going to work. I won't be able to get the grip tight enough to stop this tube rotating as I try and machine it. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to drill a hole at this end as well to give it a relief. I'm going to turn this through 90 degrees, put it in the big vise and shape between the two holes. On second thoughts, I found a bit of metal, flat bar, ground it either side, tap that in, that'll pack it. Now I can clamp it tight. Just to add to the drama, thunder and lightning. I've done both sides now, and I think by the time that I've filed these out, there'll be enough room to get the collets in. We can push from one side, pull from the other, use a magnetic screwdriver, and I think we'll be okay. Get that bit of metal out from inside. Clean it up now. Ugh, come on. That's it. Just about done. Well, there we are. We'll try it in a minute. But I just wanted to say that Robert from Sydney, you know who you are, said to me, cleaning up this black plate for TIG welding, put it in vinegar for a couple of days. So I just want you to see that's what I've done. But the thing is, you can't tell from there. It stinks of vinegar in here. Anyway, I trust this will be okay. Thank you. Right, I'll put the valve in from underneath. And that's gone in. I'll just drop one spring on. I'll shuffle this around a bit so that you can see it. And we'll see if we can compress this enough to get the collets in. I'm not actually going to put the collets in this time. We're just going to see if it would work. I'm sure it will. I'm tempted to make lots of lightning jokes now. Like, this will be over in a flash. Storm in a teacup. Man, this will work. I'll bring the camera around so you can see. I have no doubt at all that we would get the collets into there, and I can wiggle it a little bit. So there you go, 50 quid saved. Hope that was useful to you. Thank you for watching. Thanks be shared.